Alright guys, I've decided to break this video into two parts. This video is, from the title, you already know, the $10 knife, the Camillus Titanium, versus the $15 Mora knife. So these are two very budget knives. They fill the same niche, and there's great things about both of them. So we're going to get into this tabletop, and then I'll make a second video on use that'll probably be shorter, hopefully around 5 minutes, so we don't just go insane. Let's see, the first talking point comparing the two knives. So that's basically the whole video, but I'm just talking about kind of geometry and basic use. So, they, like I said before, they fill the same niche. They're two handy, small camp knives. And from there, I'm going to get into kind of the philosophy of use behind them. The Mora knife. This one is one of my personal favorites. I take it everywhere. I use it for everything. I don't just carry it. I'm not a weirdo that carries a fixed blade knife. Well, I'm talking about hunting, camping, fishing, what I do for fun. This knife has seen it, been there, done that for years, and it holds a phenomenal edge. I've just been unbelievably happy with this knife. I think the handle on the Mora really beats out this handle. The blade geometry, I think that's up to the personal user, honestly, because the Mora is probably not as good as this knife for, say, batoning, but in reality, when are you going to be batoning with a 4.5-inch blade knife? I typically carry a Grand Cirrus Brooks axe, and it's just out of frame here. This is a small forest axe, and it's with a small Mora and this axe, you basically don't need to worry about batoning. You have an axe. I'm not cutting down forests. I'm not processing large amounts of anything. I'm merely making small campfires. And sometimes not even a campfire, just a little twig fire to boil water to have warm food. And so that kind of gets into my own personal philosophy of use. Both of these knives are similar weights, and both of them really fill the same niche. And it's getting down to preference. And I'm kind of going on a tangent about that. I'm sorry, but let's get to the next talking point. $10, $15. So $5 of difference isn't that much. But what it gets you is the Mora knife has a much nicer sheath. Just night and day, hands down, the Mora knife beats it out with the sheath. For $5, I will always pay the extra to get a Mora just for the sheath. And I'll have links. If I can find a link for the Camillus online, I will post it. From what I've seen, these have been solely at Walmart. And here's the sheath for the Camillus. It's pretty crap. I'm gonna be honest. I think their next generations might have a better one. We've seen a consistent trend with them updating, upgrading, really listening to what people are wanting out of their product. And so I'm excited to see what the next ones will hold if they do another generation of these. So that's really about it. We can talk about the tang a little bit, I suppose, but it's not that much different. So this does have a full tang in a sense. It doesn't come out the end, but it comes all the way to the end. This one does not. Now, a lot of people, when they're looking for a knife, they haven't really experienced a Mora or know what a Mora is, and so The 3/4 tang on the Mora scares a lot of people. They're like, oh, I'm only wanting a full tang knife, which is fair. Full tang is a good thing. But on the Mora, it has no performance differences. I think the full tang, all it would add would be a crushing end that would be slightly better than the dense polymer, but the dense polymer works well, and you have to ask yourself again, how much stuff are you planning to crush? When you're fishing, when you're camping, when you're hiking, when you're backpacking, what do you crush with the pommel of your knife? There's fire starters you can, but those don't take metal. There's different things you can use, but it's not a big issue for these knives. And this one, just like the Mora, it's not metal on the end. So it's not going to be any different in how it acts. And in fact, the Camillus is a rubber handle all through. It doesn't have these hard polymer ends with a rubber center. And so I could see if you're kind of grinding or crushing things with the pommel end, you're going to see the handle probably start wearing and breaking, like on yard equipment with that same kind of material of handle. But it doesn't mean it's a bad knife, because really at the end of the day, how much crushing, how much breaking of things are you going to be doing with the pommel, which is pretty close to zero, unless you're doing something I have no clue about. Which, if you are, please leave a comment. I'm here to learn, and I'm here to share information with my viewers. So without showing use between the two, I'll have to say the Mora is my choice. The next video will show use, and I'm going to go ahead and predict the little bit I've used this and the lot of it I've used this. I'm going to go ahead and predict that they're going to be very similar. The blade geometry is similar, even though the Mora has a skinnier profile. The Mora is going to lose out at batoning, but not by much. It's just the length of the blade and the rigidity across it, but it's not something you have to worry about. It's got a nice thick spine, and it's hard stainless. These are both tempered stainless blades. So the only other thing that I could see a difference in, without doing extensive testing on this yet, will be how well the edge holds up. So I've loaned this to friends. I've used these a little bit. I've resharpened it, but it's never gotten to the point where, like, I've done a bunch of stuff and I need to resharpen it, and I sharpen it, and I can really see how long it lasts. It's just me maintaining my tools. So the next video is going to be pretty interesting. Hoping to change things up a little bit, get away from this tabletop review thing. I know this will be number 3 of the tabletop review, and some of my older videos are also tabletop. So it'll be nice to get out and do some stuff. Alright, so